Hello, I'm Rodrika Taylor. This is CAN TV Conversation. I have the pleasure of talking with a nationally certified travel phlebotomist. I would like to introduce our guest, Vanessa Dorion. Hi, Ms. Vanessa. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, I understand you're from Louisiana. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about that adjustment, you moving from Louisiana to Illinois to do this work that you do.
It was definitely a leap of faith. I would like to say it was outside of my comfort zone, and definitely it was a new experience for me. I had never been away from home before, from my husband and children. So it was definitely coming outside of my comfort zone in all capacities.
Now, could you tell us a little bit about your everyday life? Explain that a little bit for us today.
In regards to
yes, the word
as a travel phlebotomist.
Yes, ma'am.
So a phlebotomist, a lot of people don't know what we do. A phlebotomist specializes in extracting blood from either the vein or the arteries. We are the first people that a patient encounters when they go to the hospital or to a doctor's office sometimes or to a lab. We are behind the scenes. We don't get the accolades and the acknowledgement of the nurses and the doctors, but we are a vital part of the healthcare wheel. Because if we're not extracting those samples, which is what's needed to help the doctors aid in a diagnosis, we're not properly, collecting those samples and making sure that they are collected properly, the right tubes, the right order of draw, and getting to the lab in a timely fashion, it could hinder the diagnosis of the patient. So as a phlebotomist, we do an important part of the healthcare wheel. And so that's what I do. We specialize in that. We can get blood out of a turnip. And when some other healthcare professionals can't, that's our specialty. So they needed help in Illinois crisis work. They were overwhelmed with the pandemic. And a lot of agencies have been hiring phlebotomists to travel, just like they're hiring nurses. So I was one of them that was selected to go and work in the emergency room at Silver Cross Hospital in New Lenox, Illinois. And it was definitely, it was a challenge. Honestly, it was overwhelming. We had 60% of the patients coming in had COVID.
Wow.
So it was really, my first week, I was terrified. Honestly, because I didn't know if I was going to return home healthy or not. But thankfully, to the grace of God, I have to say my prayers and my faith, as well as taking a lot of supplements and just making sure I stayed hydrated and I wore the proper PPE at all times. I was able to return home COVID-free.
Explain what the PPE is. Explain that for our viewers.
So the personal protective equipment are the things that you see on the TV. That was a lot of people, there was a shortage of it, a mask, the N95 respirator mask. We're specifically fitted as healthcare workers. We get fitted for one, but we had to wear a surgical mask, the blue ones or the white ones that you see with a ventilator on top of the N95 mask. I had two masks on at all times. I wore goggles or a face shield, and also had on the gowns. We had to ungown the yellow gowns constantly. We were wearing that for 8 to 10, sometimes 12 hours a day.
Wow. Now, what would you say was maybe a memorable moment or something that was good that you remember, and then maybe something that was bad that you would like to share?
Well, I had a lot of memorable moments, but one that sticks out to me in particular was a patient who came in. She was having seizures, and she was terrified. And she didn't have, because at that time we weren't allowing family members to come in either. So patients are coming in with a lot of anxiety. They're not feeling well. And then they're coming in alone. So I just remember this patient in particular that she was so afraid that your mind is so powerful. Before I even drew her blood, she started having a seizure
Wow.
because she was just so terrified. So after she came, after we helped her recover, she came to. I just spent a few minutes talking to her, to helping her ease her anxiety, and calling her husband on the phone so that she can talk to him. And then once we hung up the phone, she wanted to attempt again for me to get her labs and draw her blood. And while I was doing that, we just prayed. And the whole time that I was drawing her blood, we just said a soft prayer. And she was able to get through that portion. We were able to get her labs quickly, find out and get her admitted to a room. She actually, not right after that, she actually had another seizure. So, it was just the fact that we were able to help her, and she thanked me, and she said how much she appreciated what we were doing. And, she apologized, and, which is not your fault when you come in to be seen and you're in critical condition, or you're not feeling well, you don't know what's going on. It's not your fault, but the fact that she was considerate enough to say thank you, even in her condition, it went a long way for me.
Wow, that is remarkable. Now, would you do this experience again?
Absolutely. I'm actually gearing up to go on my next assignment in June in Alabama,
Oh, wow.
and which I'm happy because it's closer to home. It's down south, 4 hours from Louisiana. So I'm going to be working at another hospital there, and fast-paced environment, a large hospital,
Oh,
and looking forward to getting back out there and helping people.
now I want to ask you a question. Are you vaccinated? Did you get your vaccine yet?
Honestly, I have not.
Oh, really?
Yes, and my reason for that is that I have been exposed to COVID, excuse me, multiple times, and I have the antibodies, so I have some level of protection. I don't advocate people that just recently have had COVID to get the vaccination because their immune systems are still recovering. And if they get the vaccine right after having been exposed, they run the risk of reactivating that virus again. So you need to allow yourself some time from the time you were positive from COVID to getting a vaccination. You need to allow your body time to heal. And so for myself personally, I have not gotten it yet because of that, because I have been exposed to COVID. Not this last go around, but I've had exposure to it, and I have the antibodies for it.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Vanessa, for taking time out and coming to speak to me. I look forward to seeing what you have to do next. That's all for today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.